Welcome everybody to this very special episode 72 of the Standing A podcast. I'm Aaron Soria from Los Angeles. We got one of the usual suspects, Tommy Russ Jr. from Dallas, Texas, also the founder of BSHQ Barbecue. If you're in need of barbecue catering or delivery in the Dallas area, hit them up at 801-360-2214. They're also on Instagram. Handle is at BSHQBBQ. How are you doing today, Mr. Tommy Rush?
Hey man, I'm ready to talk all of that shit. I'm doing great today, man. We about to have an outstanding episode right now. Got our special guest, which I'm gonna let you intro everybody. But
We'll
man,
get to
it's
that.
this is about to be fire right here. So I'm doing great. Let's go.
Awesome. Also, we got the dangerous, also dropping that knowledge, Mr. Courtney Tanner. Welcome back to the program, sir. How are you doing today, man? Oh, uh, let me unmute you, dude.
Oh, my bad.
Y'all
Hey,
good? You
what's
good?
saying? As was saying, I'm absolutely blessed to be here. Absolutely gutted. Last episode, I wasn't able to be on with y'all. I had to go to Seattle to take care of a family matter, but I'm back and I'm better than ever. Hopefully, like AJ will be in a few months. But yeah, I'm ready to go, man, and dispense with all these pleasantries, and we can engage in this war of words.
Definitely hear that, Courtney. Now, we've got some very special people. They are from the Vivo podcast from longliveboxing.com, based in the Dallas area, as with Tommy. They've been avid supporters of our movement, and likewise, we've been following their coverage and perspectives in the sport of boxing as well. The crew consists of Manuel Hopper Dominguez, Manny and Vivo Marrero, Sean Gringo Hicks. First off, welcome, gentlemen. Let me go one by one. Yes, sir. I'll go one by one with each of you. I'm starting off with you, Hopper. If you would please share with us your background and how you got started with Long Live Boxing. The podium is yours, Hopper. Oh, let me unmute. Oh. Let me unmute you.
There we go.
There you go.
What's up, gentlemen? Thank you for the invite, man. It's an honor to be here. I'm trying to tough it out. Apologize for these shades. I'm not trying to look cool. As I explained in our show, it's I've got severe allergies going on right now every September. So I'm trying to tough it out. So I'm here, glad to be here with you guys. Truly blessed to be here with you guys. And how I got into Long Live Boxing is me and Gringo, we actually did another boxing for another boxing website. And that's how me and Sean met. And Sean hit me up. He said, "Hey, we're gonna start this Long Live Boxing deal. Do you want in?" I said, "Of course, sign me up." So, and that's how we met. And I met Manny when we were meeting Miguel Cotto at Traders Village a while back. So, it was love at first sight, man. He's my bros. I love him to death. We argue all the time, but it's that brotherly love. You know, it's just you're happy with each other 5 minutes later. So. Yeah.
Aaron, unmute.
I'm on a bad streak today, guys. I'm sorry. Anyway,
I was confused. I'm like, what's going on?
great words again, Hopper. Next up, we got Manny and Vivo Marrero. Welcome to the program. Give us a brief intro to you and how you hooked up with En Vivo podcast. Go ahead.
Suepa, como siempre digo, always en vivo has been something special. But Sean and myself worked in previous company for like 20 years, and so as a matter of fact, he was my trainer, and after that we really connected because it was fantasy football, it was sports, and it was boxing. So me and Sean would talk a lot about boxing. I knew Sean was with other places doing certain things that we currently do here in Dallas, and because we were just talking about all the time at work, we're like, hey, we figure, hey, let's start something, let's do something, let's talk about the sport we know, let's let people know about this. So we kind of started with the website, we did a couple of videos. It wasn't really the path, and then of course, Gringo came up with the podcast world, and we're like, okay, it's a tough world, but there's the knowledge of Hopper, then there's the knowledge of Gringo and what he's done in the past, and then along came in Hopper, and then we just connected. Like Hopper said, I concur. It's just love us per side. So it's great to be talking about a sport we love. Thank you guys for your support, because it's very difficult. It's something new for us, but the common that we have out together is we love the passion. We're frustrated about the sport, but we like to talk about it.
Definitely.
Yeah, I can concur. A lot of frustrations as fans, and that's great how you started and how Gringo, developed on your idea to come up with the En Vivo podcast, and also, which is bring us to Sean. Welcome, Sean Gringo Hicks. Welcome to the show as well. Introduce us to yourself, and obviously you were heavily involved in this movement of yours. So yeah, podium is yours, man. How are you doing today, sir?
Doing great, man. It's definitely an honor to be here. Definitely a blessing, and always good to talk boxing with my brothers, and talk boxing with people that love and know the sport like you guys do. So definitely excited. One thing that I say is it's definitely been a journey. A time. How quickly time passes, because initially when Manny and I started this, the vision was totally different, because we had an industry, we were traveling a lot. You're like, hey, that'd be cool if we could visit other gyms. Actually, if you look at our first crappy videos, our first video was in Jamaica, so we kind of had the idea of doing what we called road work, because Manny was a runner, and I was like, hey, he's a runner, he's an actor, this is perfect, I'm good with computers, so this will be a good partnership. And then later on, we were able to bring along our other partner in crime in Hopper Morero. Hopper Dominguez. Sorry.
Kind of
weird. All right.
Well, I love you, Hopper. We're still Manny, but with both Manny.
Archer too, carnal.
So it was, but the thing is, like, collective ideas, like I'm sure you guys do, things evolved, and I love the place where we're at right now. I mean, obviously, there's growth and potential, in anything you do, but the journey's just been so fun, man. I just really enjoy what we're doing, and the thing that keeps me balanced is talking to them and kind of checking myself if I become too much of a fanboy, and also I like and really appreciate the other perspectives of everyone. That's why this panel is exciting to me, and I really like being a part of the youth movement. I'm an OG, but I love the youth, and I like the fact of dealing with our local partnerships that we have in the DFW area, and proud to represent which my brother Hopper Dominguez, West Dallas, because that's where our studio is, and that's where he's at, so that's where we're at. So thank you very much.
No, definitely. And we have that rivalry going. My brother Manny's Puerto Rican and I'm Mexicano, so we got that old boxing rivalry right there, ready to go.
And here's the thing. Here's the interesting thing, man. This is a 3-man show for us, and all for one for all. And we've always kept it that way. And we just use our passion. Sometimes we're right, sometimes we're not.
A lot of times we're wrong.
Yeah, exactly. So it's kind of make it interesting, because it takes a lot to do content for the people that to like. And without any kind of support, it's very difficult. And that's why we're so passionate about your support, Tommy. Aaron, appreciate Courtney. I think I've seen you a couple of times, so I never got a chance to meet you. But everyone that we met surrounding the area that accepted us, it's been great. And that's what you need, and to kind of same thing in common. And so that's the energy that you need on a daily basis, besides what energy Sean brings, because he's the backbone of the En Vivo podcast.
Yes, he is.
For me, En Vivo is alive.
One.
I am alive. I am En Vivo. I am always happy. And I'm glad that may bring excitement to people listening to a sport, because we're En Vivo. We're happy. But Sean, he's just
the man.
Right there, the whip. Let's do it. You know what I mean? So
appreciate that. Checks in the mail. But yeah, guys, I mean, that's the thing. I mean, perspective is everything. A lot of times I think that's where people get kind of caught up. They get caught up in how they feel, and their perspective is kind of like their general focus, when you lose sight of some key things. I know we dance a fine line for us, because we have a diverse, panel, diverse group as far as about how we're set up. But, it works for us, and, I wouldn't want it any other way. Yeah, because I love when people, and, you guys have probably heard the same thing. I like when people say, they refer to themselves, not us or you guys. They'll say, we're this type of channel, or we're this type of channel. And then when they get to us, they're like, well, they don't know what to say, and that's what I want. We're not one specific thing. We're a little bit of everything, because that's what the world is. It's diverse.
Yeah. Not the breaking news guys, but I mean, we'll break it down like it is.
We're slow on the trigger, man.
Definitely.
I feel weird, man. That's enough about us, though, man. Enough
I
about
know, right?
us.
I mean,
way too much about us.
Taking over the show, like, hey, where's the origin story?
Yeah, man.
Well, thank you. It's the first time we share it in total, so I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I mean, just to add to what you three guys said.
Thank you, Aaron. Yeah, appreciate it.
Yeah, and just to add to
Courtney,
what you guys
Tommy.
said, and maybe Courtney and Tommy could add to this too. I definitely love the collaborative spirit between just us fans across the social medias, the Facebooks, what have you, and we all decided to come up with our own ideas, our own mediums, our own I guess conglomerates to voice our opinions. Give alternative views to the mainstream boxing media. I just love that spirit from all you guys, and I love that collaborative spirit that we all want to bring to each other and to share with everyone. And maybe Corey or Tommy could share that before we head to our next topic.
Yeah, man, it's a slow grind when you're trying to build a movement with a podcast or radio. We started a kind of a merged internet calling radio show. It's a slow grind where you're trying to find your identity, and I've always said it takes a long time to be yourself. So I mean, this is momentous for us when we can kind of blend and merge within Vivo, and kind of try share the platform with some dudes who in a lot of ways are doing everything that they've already done everything that we're trying to do. So that's that's humbling, and that's momentous, and that's huge, and that's inspiring, because not only does that keep us humble, but it just inspires us to keep aspiring to that next level. And when you're trying to start a movement and trying to get things off the ground, like I said, it's a slow grind, it's a slow movement, and you deal with so much. You got to set it. When you're working within a unit, you got to put yourself and your egos aside, and it kind of put self aside and kind of just check yourself and realize this is a collaborative, this is a group effort. No one person is bigger than the movement that you're trying to launch. And then collectively outside of that, there's when we started off with the Standing 8, there was a lot of riffraff over poaching guests. People hitting us up from all corners of the world saying, "Hey, y'all stole our swag, y'all stole our name, y'all stole our concept, da 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 da." So,
wow.
Just for us to be at this point where we can be here and we can be collaborating with another movement and merging it and melding it into one, that's a beautiful thing. And that's just good for boxing. That's good for the boxing public, and that's good for the movement on social media of people, who like to or who basically all about chopping it up and just giving glory and giving big ups to the sport that we all know and love, the sweet science.
Well, it's entertaining. It's entertaining. So if you don't collaborate with different perspectives, it gets monotone, and audiences doesn't want anything to that. I have to disagree on what may Courtney say, but I may agree with Tommy. But Aaron gets upset at me. But why are you thinking about the way Hopper's thinking about the cash cow? I mean, I'm just thinking, something to get him up going. But that's the reality. Is that what make it interesting for the audience to say, "Wow, I'm gonna plug into whatever they're doing,"
And it's genuine. It's not that first fake show. It's real. We're not picking sides before the show even begins or everything.
Awesome.
Definitely. Well, great words from everyone to start off the show. So let's get right into it. Last night.
Guapa!
Yep.
Let's go.
So let's get right to it with the post-fight reaction to Anthony Joshua versus Oleksandr Usyk, which took place at the packed Hotspur Stadium in London, England. Super packed. A matchroom boxing presentation broadcasted globally on DAZN. Usyk, the former undisputed cruiserweight champion, entering last night's contest with 2 prior wins at heavyweight, defeated Anthony Joshua by unanimous decision to become the new heavyweight unified heavyweight champion. Scorecards of 117, 112, 116, 112, 115, 113. I predicted an Anthony Joshua win by early stoppage. Despite the challenges Usyk presents, I envisioned Joshua imposing his size early, taking away any opportunities for Usyk to execute his game plan. Obviously, that was not the case. Joshua really had a hard time dealing with Usyk's speed, head movement, feints, lateral agility, and most noticeably those left shots coming from his southpaw stance. My scorecard, I had it 7 rounds to 5 for Usyk. The first 6 rounds were being split between the two, but from round 7 onward, it was clearly Usyk's fight. That's my take on the fight. Tommy, let's get your thoughts on the fight, man.
Oh shit! So man, how I enjoyed this fight. So first off, absolutely phenomenal performance by Oleksandr Usyk. You know, this is a fight that boxing needed. You know, we needed to see a fight like this. And in the heavyweight division, when we've been dealing with all of this stuff with Wilder and Fury, with, as we kind of covered and talked about before this, you know, with Joshua and Fury, you know, there all of these different things that we've been dealing with. Like, this fight was just it was a flat out blessing for all of the boxing fans. How I scored the fight, how I called the fight, pre-fight, I chose a split decision for Usyk. I felt that there would probably be some of that, you know, sweet Caroline home cooking going on. You know, just as far as just being there across the pond, but you know, gladly, you know, he absolutely dominated the fight. You know, I think that it was, as you said, Aaron, you know, it was so many issues that Joshua had, you know, with Usyk's style. You could see, I think it was like maybe after about round 4 or 5, he was immediately just trying new things to see if he could get it going. You know, Usyk, you know, I love the movement that went throughout that whole entire fight, you know, and he forced Joshua to have to move around as well, because as we could see, like, he was really trying to stay planted. He was trying to stay center ring and just move off that back foot. But there was just so much movement going around, and you know, as the brown bird sugar Courtney said, you know, this dude was like a heavyweight Lomachenko in the ring. You know, he was yep, on his game, and we knew that he would be on his game. You know, so I'm glad that the fight went the way that it went. You know, he absolutely dominated it. You know, I give props to the judges, because we didn't see that home cooking. You know, those scorecards were very respectable, because we all know that, you know, there could have been some pretty bad scorecards, as we saw, you know, with Campbell Hatton earlier in the undercards.
Oh,
you know, but you know, they did boxing the solid that we needed. He earned it. He flat out outboxed his socks off throughout that whole entire fight. I had the fight 8-4. So, you know, I did feel that maybe 1 or 2 of those rounds for Joshua were actually close rounds as well, but I did award those to Joshua. But, you know, I mean, Usyk did his thing. He controlled, you know, completely the first half of the fight, in my opinion. It kind of went back and forth a little bit midway, you know, in the thick of things, which, you know, Joshua did start to kind of find himself a little bit. He started landing those rights. You know, he was landing a couple little uppercuts, things like that. I really wish that he would have figured out, as Roy Jones Jr. said, you know, that he would have figured out much earlier that he needed to go to the body, you know, with somebody like Usyk. But you know, he represented in the middle rounds. However, you know, Usyk also he answered that, you know, and that was something huge. It was something major, because when Joshua started to land those punches, when he did start to kind of break him a little bit and cut him and things like that, you know, we saw what Usyk was made of. He was able to make adjustments and come back and finish the fight with dominating fashion. You know, he clearly won the championship rounds, which was very, very important. Coming into about round 7 or so, I was saying like he because I had that feeling about, you know, the home cooking. I said he's gonna have to win about a good 8 rounds. Like he's gonna have to. Like if he doesn't, it's
nervous.
It's gonna be a draw.
No,
I was like,
definitely.
it's gonna be a draw. Oh shit. You
No,
know,
I mean,
but-
tell me about it.
That's what I thought.
yeah, but he did it, man, and he showed up, he showed out, you know, and he put himself, you know, in a different atmosphere at this point right now. So, which I'm sure we're gonna talk about a little bit later. But yeah, phenomenal fight, loved it.
Mm-hmm.
Very phenomenal. And yeah, and as you said, Tommy, when Joshua, when he thought he had an answer, you know, Usyk came with a counter answer and did more of that, and it was clearly Usyk's night. Now, Sean Gringo Hicks, let me go to you. What was your biggest takeaways from that fight?
Yeah, my biggest takeaway is that never underestimate the heart of a champion. You know, I went in there with one mindset of what was going to happen, and something completely different took place. And also that when it comes to boxing, a lot of times that we look in terms of what's in front of us, but when you look at somebody cerebral like an Usyk, and I like that Courtney did compare him to Lomachenko. You know, a lot of times these Ukrainian fighters, Eastern Bloc fighters, they're looking and they're fighting in a way where they're looking at their career as, you know, chess, not checkers. They're looking at multiple moves. So I really look at the way that this has been set up and in place for a long time, not just a mandatory, but I think the whole move that Usyk had of going to the heavyweight division was targeting who he fought yesterday. I believe he saw a lot of flaws and a lot of opportunities, and he took those opportunities and he had a perfect game plan, which he executed. And it shows you that, you know, patience can pay off in boxing. Yeah, you want the quick, you know, instant gratification, but, you know, fighters can definitely learn from this. Not just that you can win being a boxer and not just a bigger puncher and not just a bigger person. Boxing, you know, as true sweet science, can definitely win, but have a game plan. Look at your career and opportunities and think of, you know, hey, this might be a path where I can have, you know, an unbelievable career, and maybe have some bumps in the road. Because, you know, what I'll speak to, and, you know, I'll quick to say when I make a mistake, because it happens often, is that I was under the impression I quickly us make an assumption, which was always never the best thing you want to do, especially in boxing.
Half
I
man,
made the
half
assumption that,
disappointment.
yeah, I made the assumption that the fighter we saw in Usyk in his last 2 fights in heavyweight is the best he could possibly be, and he let us know yesterday he has way more in the tank. And as he stated yesterday within the ring, we have yet to see the best Oleksandr Usyk, and I'm very thankful for it.
Yeah, definitely. And yeah, I did remember Usyk saying that that's not my 100%. There's more to come for me very soon. Great thoughts, Sean. Let's go to you, Hopper. Give us your perspective on what we saw last night between
Hopper.
Josh and Usyk.
Allergy Hopper in the mix. No, but I'm like you, Aaron. I was on the same line of thinking. I was thinking Anthony Joshua was going to impose his will, his size on Usyk. You know how they say the bigger, the heavier skilled guy will always beat the smaller skilled guy. That was my line of thinking going into this fight. But when that report came out that Joshua was going to weigh like close to his lowest weight of his career, I said, "Oh no, Chico, what are you doing, bro? No." And his game plan, my whole takeaway was Anthony Joshua's game plan was flawed. He wanted to outbox the boxer, which no, that's I mean, I don't know what his team was thinking or who came up with the idea, but that's why it was pretty clear for me that Anthony Joshua was going to win. This kind of reminded me like when my boy Canelo, you know, I always got to bring up Canelo somehow. He fought Floyd Mayweather and he was trying to outbox him as well. I'm like, dude, what are you doing? You're not going to outbox Floyd. Or like sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Like even when Tim Bradley when he slugged with Ruslan Provodnikov. That one worked out from him, but he took a lot of punishment. So, you're adjusting to your opponent's game plan rather than following yours and imposing your will on it. And it surprised me. I mean, Usyk, not necessarily that Usyk won because we know about his technical abilities. He's the cruiserweight king. But I just felt based on his performance.
The what?
He was the cruiserweight king, now going up to heavyweight.
No,
based on his performances against Chisora and against that other dude, Witherspoon, I said, man, now he's gonna go in there and fight Anthony Joshua, and there's no way he's gonna be able to handle Anthony Joshua's size. And Joshua made it easier for him. He lost all that weight. It was what do we call him earlier? Slim J. Slim J. So I think somebody mentioned it, and Eddie Hearn, it looked like he wanted to cry afterwards, understandably so. Somebody mentioned it. I forget which writer mentioned it, but they said that maybe Anthony Joshua needs to get a better team. And I think looking at both of his losses, when he lost to Andy Ruiz as well, there was a lot of things you could take from what the corner did and not helping out Anthony Joshua, like icing his neck and just little stuff like that adds up. And especially in this one, going in there with this kind of game plan when you're going to outbox a master technician boxer. No, I think AJ probably needs to seriously look at his corner and see where he goes from here. But to his credit, to Anthony Joshua's credit, at least he didn't come out with 100 excuses, or blame the opponent or blame the snake or the costume or something. He took his loss like a man, and we'll see how he regroups in the rematch, because I'm pretty sure he's gonna.
Well, that's why, because I have a rematch. I have a rematch.
And then just you guys, I don't know if you guys can tell, but behind Manny Marrero, it's a Ukraine flag. He just hasn't extended it all. So he's half Ukrainian, I guess.
Product placement.
Half Puerto Rican, half Ukrainian. I don't know, I guess.
So you won't see how unbiased he is, right?
No, he's not biased at all.
Not at all. He doesn't care about Ukrainian fighters. No, not at all. Lomachenko, who's that?
Who?
Oh, you call him Lomachenko. I still believe in the king.
Lomachenko. But no, yeah, that's what I took away from it. Props to Usyk. He stuck to his game plan. He had the right game plan. AJ, his flawed game plan, just bit him in the butt.
Great stuff, Hopper. And we both got it wrong. But hey, hats off to Usyk. Now, Courtney, you were dead on in your preview of this fight.
I called that shit.
Yeah.
I called that shit.
Laser focus.
Props to you,
hey,
bro.
First off, man, I want to give props to fucking Lone Wolf, Anthony Saldana. He strikes again.
Yes.
Hey,
from Supreme Boxing.
You know what? Me and Anthony, we get frisky sometimes, but I will say this though, that dude, he be knowing what he talking about, man. He be knowing what he talking about, man. Like that, he's got some psychic ESP shit going on. I don't know what it is, but hey, he struck again. He struck again. Also, the second person I want to give props to, but not too much, is my boy Nick Algarani.
Yep.
Fucking representing NYC. But I'm not going to give him too much credit because he refused to come back on the show after, we handed him his hat regarding his boy Vostik. And then he tried to slander us and say we had an agenda.
Wow.
He had a weak ass excuse that he had a company Halloween party. Fuck all that shit, man. And I know he's somewhere listening right now, but hey, I still love you, my guy. I'm gonna give you props, but not too much, because I still remember that shit. I remember everything. Yeah, man. Like I said, I said this from the outset though. I said if Andy Ruiz could knock Anthony Joshua out, Usyk could damn sure outbox him, and that's what we saw. My prediction was it was either going to be a split decision for Usyk, or Usyk was going to get him out of there late, and he damn near did. But overall, I saw this fight as a fight for survival. And it was one of those fights where both dudes had to survive. And Usyk, he had to survive those middle rounds where it looked like Joshua was figuring him out. And there came a point in midway through the fight where Anthony Joshua seemed like he was figuring him out. He started eating a lot of those punches, and it looked like Usyk's his punch outfit, it didn't have the effectiveness that it was having earlier on. but he found that shit. It was evident in the 12th and final round where it turned around and Anthony Joshua had to survive that late surge just to answer that last bell. And it's one of those rare fights where usually when a fight is close on scorecards, because most people had it 7-5. I think there's a few outliers out there, but generally most people who were watching the fight had it like around in the range of 7-5. And it was a relatively close fight. It was a competitive fight, if anything else. But it was one of the things that's rare where it was a close or closer fight. And most of the time when it is like that, people say, well, it could have gone either way. No, it was close. It was competitive, if you will. But Usyk definitely deserved to win that fight and get that decision. And there's really no opinions out there, even outliers, that are saying that Anthony Joshua, well, I think Anthony Joshua could have got it or whatever. It's pretty, it's pretty much either you thought, Usyk had it well in hand, or it was competitive, but the right man won. And I think that reflected on the judges' scorecards, even the judge from Great Britain. I think that was the closest scorecard that there was, but he the one that gave it to Usyk. So, definitely, I think boxing won in that we saw a high-speed chess match at the heavyweight division. It was an old-school heavyweight scrap. It was action. It was strategy. It was two dudes who brought the best of themselves in there. There was no excuses, and there was no fucking controversy. And the fight was over by like 7 o'clock, so you could still go out and hit the salsa clubs if you were on the East Coast.
Hey, we love those, bro. We love those early afternoon cards. I was at Turner Falls watching it, man. We finished watching it, went straight to the swimming pool camp, and it was awesome. We loved it.
I don't even club no more.
Well,
Yeah, I was just
broke
gonna.
up. Oh,
Hello?
you're back, Corny.
There
Did
you
you want
go.
to finish? Did you want to finish your last sentence?
Hello.
Corny?
You back? Yep. 1 second.
Oh,
He'll be
No,
back. Well, he'll be back with us. Hey, Manny Marrero, you were bullish on Usyk winning, and you have the Ukrainian flag behind you to
unbiased commentary coming.
Completely.
But let's. But give us your take, man. Let's give us your take, man. You were extremely bullish on the win. Speak on your excitement. Speak on your perspective on the fight. Go ahead, Manny.
Well, first of all, I mean, all respect to Joshua, Anthony Joshua. I don't think he gets the respect he deserves. And I'm the one to say I am one of those.
From you.
Of course, absolutely. But here's the deal. My concern in this fight was not because I am anything to do with the Ukraine. I love the Klitschko's. I come from that area. Love what they did in the heavyweights. Then you got Lomachenko, which is, arguably my idol in terms of the boxing. And I got a lot of reasons for that. But honestly, also seeing what Usyk have done and attaching to that culture that is actually growing in the Ukraine. It's great to see that. We see it in the Philippines, how it grew the boxing. We see it everywhere. So you tend to be attached to that. You tend to grow. But my concern to here, it was, if I'm going to analyze exactly and see what's happening, how is it going to turn out to be? You got to understand that two factors in here. Number one is what kind of Anthony Joshua are we going to get? And here's the deal. With the same style of opponent, the difference is that Andy Ruiz has faster hands than Usyk, but Usyk's got a much better IQ and also boxing skill than Andy Ruiz, and he's much more committed. We know for a fact that Anthony Joshua has issues with smaller boxers, and when you talk about you're fighting a southpaw, now here comes the mentality. The second part is, what kind of Anthony Joshua are we going to get? Are we going to get an Anthony Joshua that got a replacement out of Andy Ruiz at the last minute, and I went to New York to either be a model, Calvin Klein, take some pictures, and enjoy the freedom and the stardom, not taking things serious, and look what happened? And here's my problem, and I think that because Anthony Joshua, in those cases, he doesn't have a redundancy plan in terms of I may not prepare for your style, maybe I'm hurt, maybe something going on, I got my security blanket, which is my rematch clause, and then all of a sudden I see him giving up. That's Andy Ruiz. Then he came back in the second fight, and we all saw his commitment. We saw a different Anthony Joshua, I mean, completely focused, coming into the ring, not paying attention to this crap in where I don't know who invented that or who came up with that. He just stood there with a bunch of fireworks coming out. He wants to be a Canelo show kind of thing. And I'm not trying to bring Canelo. I just give props to has props. But there's nothing you can have of an entrance of someone as that high level. And I don't see Anthony Joshua at that level yet. And then all of a sudden, thing happens again. You're underestimating a fighter that is smaller than you. He's got 74 reaching compared to 84 that you have, and smaller. But you come in and with that confidence. I love the fact that everything was about politeness. Usyk, it's a gentleman inside and outside the ring. That's one of the things I love them. I know what he was able to accomplish at the cruiserweights, and I really wanted to see him. I really wanted to see prove people wrong that even with everything he went through the cruiserweights and people talking about he didn't have a lot of competition, which a lot of them is BS, but he moved on to bigger and better things. At 34 years old, this is my opportunity. And Sean, you're absolutely right. He had a plan to move up and say, I'm coming as a super champion. That's not his business whether the organization decide you're a super champion and you're probably entitled to a number one, mandatory challenger. That's the perk that comes with what he did in the cruiserweights. But the way he did it and the way he overcame challenges, getting into there with a spoon, I get it. Last replacement, good and done. Chisora, that was a big, huge fight for him, a huge test for him to learn those things and have something in her repertoire to be able to come back in through a fight. Anthony Joshua doesn't have that. When he's in trouble, when he's not taking lead and control of the fight, it happened last night. I did see a glance of Anthony Joshua kind of coming back, and it was at that 8th round, which, by the way, I saw the fight again, and I scored my card. I changed from 8-5 to 117, 112, and I got Victor Fishenko card exactly. I gave that round, actually 6th round, I gave it 10-10 tie. Okay, so 117, 112. But at that round, we did see Anthony Joshua kind of come in. I said, here's the problem for Usyk. Usyk needs to start coming back and start doing the things he was doing in the first round, moving a lot, lateral movements, make sure you take some of those combinations, try to get your best punch out there, take this guy that you've already popped him, and now be able to control the fight. If he doesn't get aggressive at that 9th round, I think Anthony Joshua's got him, and that's what Usyk did. AJ had nothing else left other than, in my view, and this is only my assumption, right? And I know most of them are wrong, but hey, who knows? I'm just a Puerto Rican being a Ukrainian fan. But I think Anthony Joshua stated to himself, I'm giving up. I got a freaking rematch, which I'm going to take. He already said, I'm getting into it, right? And I'm going to prepare myself, and I'm going to try this second shot. Why he can't do it on the first try with these kind of opponents that he has struggled not once, but twice? That's my take. I don't know anything about Ukrainian. You guys are back in the map. You are unified heavyweight championships. Congratulations to everyone. It's great. It was a great, great fight. We needed that.
I do see a pattern, as you said, with AJ, where when he's fighting someone that's kind of like on the outlier, like on the periphery, he kind of like, he fights down to his stature, I guess. I don't know. I can't find the better word for it. And then he has a contingency plan, the rematch clause. And then he bounces back.
That's it. He gave up.
Usyk is he's not a Ruiz, obviously. So we can't make that analogy.
He's not going to get fat in the rematch either.
No.
But not only that, I love how you, Aaron, started it, because that's one of the things that really stuck to me afterwards, just to listen to him, how he really – how humble he sounds, right? And a lot of people talk about, Lomachenko and that culture. No, listen, these guys are great. They're just good what I have to do. But anyway, you have not seen the best of Usyk yet. And that's right. He gets better fight after fight. And at 34 years old,
he's 34 years old, man.
He's still got some pop, and he's gonna.
Yeah, I'm a hater.
I can't wait. I can't wait.
Bro, he's 34 years old. Well, how much better can he get?
Undisputed in the cruiserweight and unified on the heavyweights.
Hey, he's He's now in Holyfield territory right now, man.
Yeah.
Like
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
Can we instead of the rematch, can we get the winner of Wilder and Fury? Can we see that? I know you guys got a lot of stuff to say, and this is not about that, but can we see that? How amazing that would be for the sport and for the division. Boom.
Man, I've got a question if you guys don't mind, Aaron, Tommy, Courtney. What you mentioned it, Tommy, and I've always wondered about this, and it really doesn't have anything to do with the fight, but why do the Brits love that Sweet Caroline song? I mean, they play it every single fight. I was telling my wife about it. I go, babe, they play this damn song every single time, and they all Sweet Caroline. I was like, I don't. What is it? It's like their second national anthem or something.
It's got some kind of hidden message or
every-
something.
It's an Eddie Hearn gimmick. As I understand it, Eddie Hearn start bumping that shit in the stadiums, in the fights, and it's one of the things that
it caught on. It's catchy, I guess.
Phenomenon.
Yeah,
I think that's kind of
they play it all the time.
That he's put on boxing, and you can't even call it British boxing because now he's brought the game to the stateside and other locations around the world, and it's a matchroom, it's an Eddie Hearn thing, and it's just it's culturally iconic, man. You know what I'm saying? Hate it or love it, man.
Well, I mean, I think also
That's
too is
just synonymous with boxing now. It's Michael Buffer. Let's get ready to rumble.
The Rumble.
Winning it's Showtime. It's just one of those things now, man.
Hey, that shit is like baseball doing like in a baseball arena when they do the wave and shit.
Yeah,
you have to do it. Like even if you don't want to do it. And this is one of those songs where it's like, okay, well, I know like 7 words to this song, and when those 7 words hit, I'm gonna sing those 7 words to the best of my abilities. So it's like,
I don't even know what the song is about. Is it the Boston
like
Girls
the
in Carolina?
It's
not boxing.
like the chanting they do for soccer. They started doing that. The entire stadium.
No. You know what?
Yeah.
You don't want to know the chant the Mexicans sing. Say in the soccer, they literally stopped the game because they don't want the fans to chanting that anymore.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Puto.
That would be in Puerto Rico. I'll promise I got to learn how to say that in Ukrainian. I will. I'm in this boat, bro, and I got to write it. I got to write it until it sinks, bro.
Mute this guy, por favor, Aaron.
At your request, muted.
But I'll say this too. I think British fans got to take the L not only for Joshua coming up short, but also for the tasteless display of booing Usyk's national anthem. That was
that was whack, man. That's
I think British boxing has to hold
crappy.
it out for that. You got to be a special kind of classless.
Yeah, that's bad, man. That's like
national anthem.
That's bad, man. That's like cheering an injury or something. Like, just don't do that, man.
That's what happened yesterday. And sorry to cut in, but I think also this was important that I bring in yesterday. Dominican Lenin Cancillo, he welcomed Callum Smith to the 175 pounds, and he paid up with that right punch into the head. And then I've never seen anyone. To myself, and you probably, if you guys didn't see it or if you guys have watched it, I've never seen anyone like that, the way he was, to the point that the zone took away anything that had to do with it. We didn't see him going on the stretchers or anything like that. To my understanding, he's okay. But when the punch happened, Caleb Smith went to the corner and he rose his hand and got up in the ropes. And then they told him, hey, no, he didn't know at that point what was going on. And it was great of him stating that, in quote, it's never nice to see that. And you never want it to end that way. And that's what Smith said. And he apologized to the camp for celebrating. I hadn't realized the extent that he was unresponsive. I hate when fighters celebrate when their opponents in a bad way. So I apologize, end quote. That was Caleb Smith. So that was really good and very, very, very tough moment as a fan. And if someone that, we know for a fact, a couple of weeks ago, we lost, another one that shouldn't be in the ring. We talked about her. And then, things like that don't happen. We know what happens inside the sport, right? It's a dangerous sport, but can't play boxing. But it's always good to see the heart of someone like Caleb Smith.
Yeah, from the angle that the DAZN camera was at, it was very hard. That right hand was very quick, and from the angle from the DAZN broadcast, the way it was framed, it was really hard to catch it from the viewers. But from the replay, it was really devastating. But yeah, great thoughts on that. I'm glad you shared that. But we'll see what Callum Smith does at the light heavyweight division. He still has still much of a future left, even after his loss to Canelo. But transitioning back to Usyk, now that Usyk is a unified heavyweight champion, and after becoming undisputed cruiserweight from 2018 to 2019, where does he rank now? And is he in your top 3 of the pound for pound best boxers? If not, has he jumped a few spots on your list? Let's start with you, Sean Gringo Hicks. Give us your take on that.
All right, yeah, I appreciate it. So, yeah, a lot to unpack there. So, yeah, I know a lot of people say they have this, rule or unwritten rule, or I mean, as far as pound for pound, they didn't put heavyweights on there, but y'all can keep that rule, man. This is an exception here. I think this is a boxer. This wasn't, just a thunderous puncher. Usyk is truly a boxer, and I think that what he did is deserving of being recognized as far as, being on pound for pound. Like, is he going to be high up there? For me, no, but I think he should definitely be on the top 10. And this is a huge win. And I think also we don't want to take away from, I know a lot of people are down or questioning maybe the mental fortitude or the focus of Anthony Joshua, but he's still a tough opponent. And I think the fact that, Usyk got that win, but a lot of people were doubting him, I think that deserves some credit. As far as where I rank Usyk and as far as the other heavyweights, I put him, I think you have to put him in the top 3. I mean, honestly, I had Joshua in the top 3. So for the fact that he beat Joshua, and it is about matchups, I think you just, you have to. And I think that, kind of going through the list, I like Usyk against Dylan White. I like Usyk against, Parker. I like Usyk against a lot of the guys. I mean, the only one I really don't feel comfortable with where, because the size does come into play because he's such a giant would be, Tyson Fury. But aside from that, I think with his boxing skills and boxing IQ, I mean, there's a possibility for him to beat anybody. And, he shows that he can put together a game plan. And even more importantly, he can execute on that game plan and, put everybody in, a world of hurt. Because you're not just going to fight him, physically, mentally, it's exhausting. I mean, he's constantly, he's the Matrix 2.0 or the Matrix Plus or whatever you want to call him. But he's definitely a tough opponent.
Great stuff. Sean. I want to bring up this comment. Shout out to Daniel D-Rock Pena. He's one of the founding members of the Standing 8 podcast.
Nice.
But always a supporter of us now. He states he doesn't believe, and I'll quote, "Nope, not top 3." Also, I was of the thought that he should have never been given the mandatory, but he proved me wrong. Tommy, give us your thoughts, also as well as Usyk's top 3 or your top 10 in it, and also your thoughts on Daniel Pena's comment right there.
So, shout out D-Rock. We love you, bro. Miss you. We need to get you back on sometime soon. One thing that I'll say is I think that Usyk at this point is definitely deserving of at least top 5. When we saw what Teofimo Lopez did and the trajectory that he was on as a young star and going in and defeating Lomachenko. Sorry, Manny. Going in and defeating Lomachenko. He earned, to be in that about top 5 or so, just based off of those accomplishments. I think that as I mentioned earlier, this right here, what Usyk just did, this puts him in Holyfield territory, and this is something that is extremely rare. When we talk about the feud and the back and forth in accomplishments and current resume, things like that with Spence and Bud Crawford, we give Bud a lot of extra standing because of what he did, at 140, because he dominated 140. Usyk is now dominated the cruiserweight division and is now the unified heavyweight champion, which we all know how important and how great the heavyweight division is to boxing overall, historically. And so, I mean, I had him, before this. I think when we did we did some votes in June. I think I had Usyk maybe like 8 or 9, something like that, in the top 10. I already had him in the top 10. I think that this is very much so deserving of, being in that top 5 category where you have, Canelo, in a way, Usyk, and then however you decide to kind of put it in there with Spence and Bud Crawford. So,
oh wow! Look at that. So Canelo went down a spot. Is that what it is?
What's that?
Canelo went down a spot.
Oh no!
Remember that.
I was trying to. Hey, I said balance, right? We got to balance it out. You went up, I went down. That's all that is. That's nothing personal. Tommy, I'm sorry he interrupted you, man. You were doing great. No,
Yeah,
everything you said.
We're just brainstorming.
But I don't know how you can say that Usyk didn't deserve the mandatory slot. That's been a thing in boxing for a very long time. That if somebody is an organization's champion at one weight, if they decide to make that jump up to the next weight, they're that's their prerogative. That's get
the WBO.
the first look, and honestly, that's the way it should be. That provision was put into place so guys just don't camp out in a division. So I think I don't see anything suspect or shady about Usyk getting to jump in at that for the WBO and getting installed as their mandatory because he decided to make the jump up the heavyweight. And the thing is too is it's not like he had. He early on in his career, he took some fights at heavyweight against some smaller heavyweights, some fringe guys, and then when he made this announcement that hey, I want next to be the mandatory for the WBO at heavyweight, he waded into that heavyweight territory and he took 2 fights, and he beat 2 established heavyweights. So I mean, the way it was done, I don't find any fault in that. I don't see how. It can be said that Usyk wasn't deserving of that mandatory slot. And then obviously what he did in the ring demonstrated that he does belong, and he should have been. He was well deserving of being installed as the WBO's mandatory. And the thing is too is if you look at the rankings for the WBO at heavyweight, I mean, if it wasn't Usyk, who would it have been? I think that's like 9 other guys you probably don't give a fuck about or never heard of before.
Well, maybe Luis Ortiz, but Luis Ortiz at 7 ranked.
Honestly, I don't really peruse the organization's rankings at various weights all that often. So I mean, I can't really speak to that, but I mean, if Luis Ortiz was on there, okay, that's one thing. But I can assure you that list for the WBO, their top 10 at or top 15 at heavyweight was probably inundated with a lot of slack-jawed dudes.
In there. And besides, Luis Ortiz had already turned down a shot at AJ, so he had already turned it down. That's why they went to.
And Luis Ortiz is rumored to be. It's being floated that he is going to fight Andy Ruiz by the end of the year. So
great fight.
I think that should be a very entertaining scrap.
I love that.
But all the way in on this also, as far as where I see him, as far as the top 10, I think for me, Usyk is at that number 3 slot. He's because of what he did last night, in a way, it's gonna have to slide over. I still have Canelo and Bud as my top 2 guys, but I think Usyk, it's very hard to deny Usyk a top 3, a top, he has to be at least top 5. I mean, for me, it's very hard not to justify him as top 3 at this point, but there's no way in hell you can keep him out of the top 5 now.
All right.
Great points, Courtney. As well as your thoughts on Usyk as where you positioned him in the top 10 after his statement win over Joshua. Hopper, let's get your thoughts on this as far as Usyk. Where has he moved in your top 10? If he's at your top 10 at all?
No, definitely. He was already in my top 10 prior to this. Just because of what he accomplished in the cruiserweight division. But now that he's established himself, now he beat Anthony Joshua. He's unified heavyweight champion. Of course, he automatically skyrockets to top 5 for sure. I haven't really given it much thought. Of course, I have Canelo number 1. Of course, Gringo's a hater. Number 2, number 3. the third or fourth. I feel comfortable putting him third or fourth, of course, definitely. So, and I'll say this about Usyk. I think I'm gonna have to get off, fellas, but I'll say this about Usyk. A wise man once said, "There's two cash cows, right? There's a cash cow over here on this side of the Atlantic. It's at Canelo, and over there is Anthony Joshua. One cash cow talks the talks and walks the walk. The other one doesn't. So
you're taking my statement away. Don't copy
that's what I said. That's what I said. I said a wise man once
It
said.
was way more impressive. You didn't have
I know,
props.
right?
We got props, but you're not using them.
Yeah,
Right.
Sorry, guys. I always have to bring up Canelo somehow.
We got stories and
Tommy
props for
knows.
days.
Tommy knows what's up.
I mean, we're at the point. Can we even consider Canelo a Mexican fighter anymore? Like, you know what I'm saying? Canelo's like international now. You know what I'm saying? Like, for me, that's how I look at Canelo. He's like, yes, he is a fighter who is from Mexico, but I can't even put him in that Mexican fighter category anymore because the dude global now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, he's global, but he's still from Mexico. That's where we reside.
I'm not trying to deny him his heritage or anything like that. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying, with Canelo, I'm no longer comfortable with putting him into a box as, you know what I'm saying, as a Mexican fighter. You know what I'm saying? Like, this dude, he's selling out tickets, he's selling out football stadiums. You know what I'm saying? Canelo could probably go to England and, you know what I'm saying, and decapitate one of the many British fighters he's known to do and do that shit in front of a sellout at Wembley.
Absolutely.
So, you know what I'm saying? That's where I'm at with Canelo.
Yep, you're right.
No, definitely. So, yeah, that's my take on it, man. Thank you, guys. Appreciate you having me on. I gotta go clean up. Appreciate it. We'll holler at you guys.
Thank you for joining. It's an honor to have you on with us.
And you guys, Manny, I hope your dog bites your flag.
He's not allowed.
That's a good request.
He's a Shinko too, you know.
Right,
Love you, brother.
Okay, so I had to pull up a comment of Daniel Pena's. He retorts, so wait, Usyk, he's top 5 pound for pound, but he's not top heavyweight. Anyone want to respond to that?
Yeah, I will. I'll justify mine in that top. You know, if we have the way I look at the top 10 is always it transcends weight. You know, so my thing is when you look at the accomplishment of what he's done at cruiserweight and becoming an undisputed, champion at cruiserweight, and then going up, and then having 3 of the 4 belts at heavyweight. That's something I'm saying. Yeah, you still got to rate Tyson Fury as the number 1 heavyweight, but as far as overall credentials, you know what I'm saying, Tyson Fury hasn't been undisputed as a heavyweight. He hasn't been undisputed at any weight division. Usyk has, and now he has 3 of the 4 straps. Like, you know what I'm saying, that's in me, that's how I justify his standing in top 3. I do have Fury in my top 10 as well, but I think that's where that differentiates Usyk and Tyson Fury. I mean, because I think when we look at this as the top 10, you can't just confine somebody to weight. Because this thing too is, I have Bud as the number 2 top, in my top 10, but I readily acknowledge that Errol Spence is the number 1 welterweight in the world. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, it's really, for me, it's really not that hard to look if you're looking at your top 10 in a holistic manner.
Yeah.
Good stuff, Corny. And, the question of Daniel Pena kind of like, segues into this topic I want to bring up. So what other heavyweights out there could solve the Usyk puzzle?
Fury's too big for him. I'm saying that Fury's too big for him, and I'm saying it now. AJ's probably gonna knock him out in the rematch.
Interesting.
Well, I mean, that's he's known for that. I got another second chance that I can really work my ass off and try to see how can I slow this guy the same way he did it. The only difference is that Andy Ruiz didn't take things serious at the second fight. That was a disadvantage. A well-trained, more dedicated Andy Ruiz pre of the first fight, I don't think AJ would have lasted 5 rounds with him. The problem is and then that's not the problem is that it was up to him, and he didn't really make it happen. So with now he had a different mentality on the second fight. Absolutely, you got another opportunity. But I do see Usyk improving, and that's the same way he's done it. Listen, Usyk hadn't get those titles in one shot, and these are some of the things I talk about Teofimo Lopez. He won everything in one shot. He won one fight, all the belts. Listen, Usyk won the WBO, and then he defended it twice. Then he went on to that tournament to win the undisputed 3 fights later after that. So he
Teofimo had a belt. He beat Comey for his belt, so. That really wasn't on one shot.
but that's it. But now he wants to move up into the 140 to try to get Josh Taylor to the one shot.
Who also won his gold shot, though.
Exactly. But that's one of the things that here it's a little bit different with Usyk. He had worked hard. He had gained the fact that I'm here. I'm the number one. I'm in the WO that backs me up on that, and I have the opportunity to fight it. And that was the ultimate goal and the ultimate plan. And right now, it's just going to get better and better and better for Usyk. Right now, unfortunately, I got to drop Josh Taylor from my top 5. My top 5 always been, messing around with either Fury 5 or Josh Taylor. I put Josh Taylor last time. Definitely, I got to move Bud Crawford out of there. So I have, Usyk will go into the 3rd spot. And the reason why is because what we're to be talking about right now, how the path that he got there, a lot of people don't understand that, what he had to go through. And being the underdog and being the smaller guy in a division that you can't compete with these super heavyweights. I can't imagine seeing Usyk against Wilder. You see, you know what I mean? So, but
also, we got you got to think about this against him. And you know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to take anything away from the accomplishment at cruiserweight. You know what I'm saying? And the thing is, I've been a fan of the cruiserweight division when people were pissing on it and shitting on it. And I was posting, you know what I'm saying, cruiserweight fights from Europe or whatever. And people are like, what is this division or whatever? But the thing is, too, is Usyk really didn't beat any boogeymen, you know what I'm saying, at cruiserweight. You know what I'm saying? The thing is, he was fortunate enough to get in a scenario where all 4 belts, you know what I'm saying, there was a pathway for him, and he cleaned up some very, I wouldn't say mediocre guys, but everybody he beat was basically a European level fighter. Usyk didn't beat any world class fighters at cruiserweight to consume those belts. He beat European level competition.
Right, and that's why he was not in the 10-10.
And so, I mean, with that, I think we have to be careful in just how much, you know what I'm saying. Yes, let's give him his props, but also let's keep it in context what he's done. You know what I'm saying? So like I said, he gets where he is on my top, you know what I'm saying, on my top 10 because I will not discount the accomplishment of being undisputed in any weight division. But you gotta examine the level of competition too.
Oh, absolutely. But that's right now what he's doing in the heavyweights. It gets him into that level of competition. It's how you start, but how you continue to progress. And I think he's done it right now. And in my eyes, I got to put him in the top 5. And that's what we're talking about. And for me, it kind of moved up into actually the Bud Crawford right now. It all depends what he does with Sean Porter coming up. But right now, I got to move up Usyk into that 3rd spot and to start thinking to see what's going to happen later on. To my 4th would be Bud Crawford, and AJ will still in 2nd and Canelo in the 1. I don't even know what's going to happen with AJ. Errol Spence. This is another uncertainty right now that the welterweights are locked in. But at this particular time, it is well deserved, at least to be a top 5 in any of anyone's, depending on their perspective, right? In any of fans' top 5 pound for pound.
And if he ain't top 5, you don't know shit about boxing.
I'm telling you, exactly right. But you could have a different way. It's okay. Maybe a lot of people they don't have Canelo Roman, whether you hate or not. What exactly is that your definition? How do you do your top 5 to 5? Some people look resumes. Some people look championships. Some people, it all depends your perspective and how you want to look at it. Just like what Gringo mentioned earlier.
I mean,
I try to keep an even keel on it because. Like I said, I just went on a whole tirade about not giving Usyk too much props, but I also think there is a contingent out there who are like really seriously hating on Usyk. And that always tends to happen because people, I think a lot of times too, is people make their top 10s based on their emotions and who they're fans of, and based on who they want to see in their top 10. And I think for a lot of people, Usyk does not fit the bill of a person that they want to see as a heavyweight champion, let alone a guy who is threatening the number 1 spot in the pound for pound. Now I think
ring.
Canelo, with his resume and with his bevy of accomplishment in the sport of boxing, if he, he fucks around and beats Plant and becomes undisputed at 168, that kills the chatter of just how high Usyk's ceiling it goes. As long as Canelo is an active fighter or whatnot, especially if he's walking around with all 4 belts at 168. But I mean, right now, I mean, the question and the debate and the discussion of Usyk being a top 3 guy, like I think that's fully warranted.
So just Courtney, just kind of clarify real quick. So you're really confident or feeling good about Usyk's chances going into this fight, right? The one he just won against Anthony Joshua.
Mm-hmm.
But you're quickly responding with, as far as like the rematch, you feel you're confident that there'll be a knockout that Joshua.
Oh yeah. And the thing is, because I think that's the kind of fight AJ is. I mean, that's the kind of fighter AJ is. I think to a degree his back needs to be up against the wall. He needs to face that adversity. He needs to face that disappointment, because what I gathered from AJ after he lost to Ruiz is that he's a fighter who is carrying his nation on his back. As far as Great Britain. And when you carry Great Britain on your back, he's also carrying the British Commonwealth on his back. And also his homeland of Nigeria and Africa. Like, right. AJ, in a lot of the pre-fight interviews and stuff like that, he was saying, he said, I'm not a man who is confined by what my passport says. I'm a citizen of this world. So I think AJ fully is reactualized and realizes and appreciates his stance as a global phenomenon within boxing. And I think when that has been taken away from him or ripped away from him or beaten out of him in the ring, I think that's that extra motivation he needs to come back and reassert himself and re-examine and readjust. And I think he is a fighter who's good at making those adjustments. Andy Ruiz got him out of there, touched his chin up. To his admission, he was concussed. Also up at that point, he wasn't focused coming into that fight, did his training camp in Miami Beach. We've spoken on that several times on the show or whatnot. He internalized that. He didn't make excuses when Andy Ruiz beat him. He emphatically says, I want to run this back. I want to run this back. I want to come back. And and he did, and he came in and he made the adjustments. He didn't fight the fight that was aesthetically pleasing that we all would have liked to have seen him, but he fought the fight he needed to fight in order to beat Andy Ruiz.
So in other words, he needs to start making fights without rematch clauses, because if that's the way he needs to be against the wall and say, I don't have any other second chances other than really give it all in the ring.
But that's not the business of boxing. No, nobody's making fights because the thing is, if he doesn't fight this rematch against Usyk, he doesn't know if he's ever going to touch those straps again because of the way the boxing is going.
It's like Lomachenko. Lomachenko didn't not making a rematch against Teofimo Lopez. That was very stupid business-wise for him, and I get it, I understand. But what I'm saying is, you're absolutely right.
And now Lomachenko's begging for a rematch practically.
Anthony Joshua performs better when he's under pressure and he's on the spotlight. He was on the fame spotlight yesterday, but not on the spotlight on the pressure you need to perform. And that's where I want to see the consistency of Anthony Joshua. If he's able to do that, hey, listen, we're giving a lot of props to Usyk for his cruiserweight career, but also for his victory last night. And guess what? That victory came of Anthony Joshua. Definitely Anthony Joshua is at that level. He is the former unified champion. So we got to give him props to that. My concern is, what kind of Anthony Joshua am I going to see in the next fight?
Also, I'm confident in my prediction that Anthony Joshua gets a knockout in the rematch, because I think he fought the wrong fucking fight in this fight. Completely. He should have gone for the knockout. In all reality, he should have fought Usyk like he fought Vladimir Klitschko. You know what I'm saying? And the thing, and I think that's what kind of fight the rematch is going to be. They're probably going to trade knockdowns. AJ is probably going to taste some canvas. But, I think that's the fight he needs to go. It basically, he had flashes of brilliance where he was figuring Usyk out, but then Usyk went to another level. And that's what great boxers do. That's what fighters with a very high boxing IQ do. Is if the guy's figured you out, then you go to the next level, or you know what I'm saying, you implement a further strategy that nullifies that.
No,
I think what AJ needs to do to nullify that is
So
come in and make it. He needs to make it a slug. He needs to make it a slug match. He needs to fight the same fight he fought against Dylan White. Where he said that was a roadman fight. That was quote unquote that was Finney. You know what I'm saying? I think that's the kind of fight he needs to fight in order to beat Usyk. And honestly, I see that's the kind of fight and strategy he's going to implement in, you know what I'm saying, in a rematch.
No, good point, man. I definitely agree and respect your opinion. I think that, obviously, I agree with the whole back against the wall. He fought the wrong fight. He should have been more aggressive in there, a bruiser, and taking more chances like he did against Klitschko. But also, again, I think, we're kind of dancing the fine line here about what, Joshua didn't do. I mean, I don't want to jump too far ahead, about what Aaron wants to talk about, but just real quick, I don't see it being a knock. Actually, I think we're underselling what Usyk did and what he can do in the future. I think a rematch against somebody that can figure things out, that's the thing with Usyk is so dangerous. He's not going to come in there with one game plan and not adjust.
I haven't seen the best of Usyk yet. I think
that a rematch as of right now, and then they were talking about Eddie Hearn posted that he wants to have a rematch because, coach, promoter, he wants to have one as soon as in March. Yeah. I think a quick rematch would definitely not favor Anthony Joshua. And I think this loss is a lot more damaging too. It's a lot more different. You can't say the punch by the gods. You got your ass beat. There's no punch from the gods. You got punched. He's talking about outworking him. Usyk destroyed him in the 12th round. They cut they rang the bell early. So I think,
5 seconds early.
It's definitely the wrong fight, the wrong execution of his game plan. But I think we don't want to undersell. I hear what you're saying, but Usyk, I have great confidence that Usyk, what he did was not a fluke. And that's, I kind of get that vibe. Like, it's not about what Joshua didn't do, it's what Usyk did. And I think he could do it again.
But we acting like we didn't see Usyk's face after that fight too, man.
Oh yeah, I mean,
that wasn't one-way traffic. You know what I'm saying?
No, we got a couple of right minutes.
There was moments where Usyk looked like he could have gone home early too.
No, there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. You gotta expect that, especially from Anthony Joshua. As a fan, I was expecting a little bit more. But if you're a casual that will be looking at it, it's like, hey, that guy played pretty good. I mean, he was the champion, right? I mean, and he did. He'd had his moments, and I, as a fan, was concerned for two things. Number one, to see Joshua coming back just like that and figuring things out. And that's my concern. That's what I want to really continue to say. Listen, he doesn't have that mentality to say I can come back and turn things around when things are gone my way. Usyk, you mentioned Usyk just did it, but he's not able to do that. And we've seen 2 fights like that. For me, on the rematch, I think it's going to be even worse. Right now, it's going to be more even because now we're going to see a committed Anthony Joshua. We're going to see his game face. And remember this right now, you'll see Joshua coming out of the ring completely in a different environment, zone in. I'm going to go in there and I'm going to kill this guy. And you're going to have Usyk, who's going to probably deliver on his statement at 34 years old with a much better pay. You got nothing else to lose other than commit. Take some time with your family. That's what he's going to do. And then he's going to go back to the drawing board because he knows that things are going to come back real quickly and going to favor him.
Go ahead, Sean. You had something to say?
Well, I was going to say also real quick. Usyk's face was bust up, but, Anthony Joshua's was as well. And the thing is, Courtney, in regards of the adjustments that need to be made, I think, obviously, have a different strategy as far as going there, being more aggressive, assert yourself, coming there. And definitely more head movement. So what about those things? Do you think those are things that are strictly on Anthony Joshua, or those are things that are on his team to correct, or is he with the wrong team altogether to make the changes that we're talking about?
In the fight thread, in the pound for pound group, I said that at the middle point where it seemed like Joshua was figuring him out and eating more of those punches, and and Usyk was looking a little more worse for the wear. It seemed like Anthony Joshua was getting a better advice in the corner, but I don't speak Ukrainian, so DAZN didn't offer us a translator for Usyk's corner, so I have to back off that statement. But I think, I'm really not a fan of fighters just switching because they've taken a loss. I think
Maybe
You know,
bringing
I think I mean, if you look at Bob McCracken and what he's done for, saying at all levels of boxing with the British boxing team, the amount of the Olympians he's coached, the gold medalists he's coached on the squads, the Great Britain sent to the Olympics, and what he's done, what he's done professionally with other fighters, namely Carl Froch. I think he's with a very high caliber and solid team. Out there in Great Britain. I mean, we can always insert some great trainers,
right,
and say maybe this guy would be good for him, maybe. But a lot of that too is chemistry between people. You know what I'm saying? Like for instance, Virgil Hunter is a boxing genius, but he really hasn't made it happen for a lot of guys outside Andre Ward. Because where you look at Andre Ward and the fighter he was, but you also got to look at he was basically his adoptive father. You know what I'm saying? And it's, so I mean, we can put it on, maybe he needs to look elsewhere for training or whatnot. But I mean, that chemistry, that, that working with the trainer, that bond, that, that level of trust that a fighter and a trainer has to have in order for that to be a successful pairing, that has to be years in the making. I don't know if AJ can afford to change direction like that at this point in the game. I think, maybe, them bringing another voice into his corner could help, maybe,
at this level.
But as far as him, go riding with a different team, and like, like I said, it's we can insert people, say come to top. I could think maybe Shane McGuigan. You know what I'm saying? Maybe a guy like Ben Davis, who's with, with Fury now or whatever. Good luck with that happening, though, with him training Fury. But, I mean, you can insert a lot of guys who, who would bring, you could think of off top, who would bring a new level or be able to institute new things with AJ. But just as the time frame, the level of trust, the chemistry, whatever.
Right.
That's one of those things I think is easier said than actually done.
Right. So that was. Thank you for that. So last thing, because I know Aaron wants to get to some other topics, just real quick. So based off what you're saying, you feel confident that in a rematch, that Usyk will get potentially knocked out by Anthony Joshua if he makes the potential game plan strategy that you're recommending as far as fighting more of a Klitschko style fight, and he could do it with his current team, maybe bring somebody in, but there's no reason to like clean the slate. You could go in there, just make some technical adjustments, and go in there physically bigger, and you feel he has enough to beat a Usyk.
Yeah, I believe that.
I mean, just to add to that, I mean, I agree with Corny. But this is really dependent on the fact if Anthony Joshua, eliminate trying to figure out Usyk again. He has one mission only: get a tad bit heavier, and then look for the knockout early on. No overthinking anymore. Just go with one primary goal and take out Usyk out as in less amount of rounds as humanly possible.
Hey, I like that. So Aaron, you're saying like less is more, basically. Don't go in there trying to play chess with a chess master. Go in there, try to box, use your brawn.
Clean slate. Just go in there and be hungrier than the first fight.
I like that. All right.
And Tommy, let's get Tommy's take. Tommy, what do you think Joshua should do differently for the rematch if he wants to get that rebound win back?
I agree with you, Aaron. I think that he should, first, make sure that he comes in a little bit heavier, and he should be much more active immediately. The one thing I will say, and just as everybody's been kind of going back and forth with all of this, is I think that the main thing, and I kind of mentioned this in when it was the post fight, I think that his mentality is fragile. Just my opinion. I think that he comes off and carries himself very
Joshua, right?
Yes, Joshua. He's very he's politely cocky. You know what I mean? Like his ego is on 12, and when he gets humbled, when even in the ring, when he gets humbled,
soft.
he has extreme trouble, getting out of that, because it's in his head at that point. And I mentioned it post fight. It was like I really hate when fighters like him, when you lose and you're so polite, you're so gracious and all of that stuff, you lose and you tuck your damn tail and you don't even want to like address it. Like it kind of like what Courtney said. All right, you're carrying your whole nation pretty much. Like be that same guy, at the end of that fight. Don't just duck out and walk off and all of that shit. Like I think that his mindset was broken. And I feel that as smart and as driven and as technical as a tactician that Usyk is, I feel that he has that opportunity to get in the ring in a rematch and do the same thing. I feel that if he can weather that storm, and make it through just like he did in this fight, because he got busted up. He started getting cracked. He started getting cracked with those rights once Joshua started landing them. But the fact that he was able to answer that, it completely took Joshua out of the game. His mindset was gone because he was like, okay, if I'm landing these shots, I should take this fight over and the fight should be mine. And he expected that ego. He expected that. That was his mindset. When Usyk came back, just like Michael said, his pride was hurt. It was over. And we saw that to the end of the fight. Like it was over with, like to the very end of the fight where he's sitting on the ropes.
You can see him smiling, that quirky smile he's got, like a concern, like, damn, they fucked me. You know what I mean? It's well, I can't do anything. I'm going to stay humble. I'm not going to make any excuses. I got a rematch, and I'm going to take it back.
Yeah, exactly. And so I feel like, I think that it would be a much closer fight. I mean, obviously, a heavyweight like Joshua, absolutely, you can score the knockout
anytime.
But I don't feel that there will be a knockout. I feel that it will be a closer fight, which again, that home cooking, especially depending on where it's at, I feel that he could get the victory, in a much closer fight where he establishes himself and it doesn't take, 5 to 6 rounds for him to establish himself as actually being in the fight. If he does that, I mean, it's going to be way closer. And that's a fight that Joshua can actually win because he will be landing more of those shots that he needs to land.
When the whole, like I said in Pound for Pound, when the whole collective wet dream of AJ versus Fury fell apart, I told everybody, either Usyk or Wilder or both, we're going to throw a cog in that and prevent it from happening. Now I say this. I believe AJ and Fury are going to do whatever they can to this is going to be like a romantic rom-com love story where two characters who want to be together are going to go through a bunch of shit and and do everything that they can to come together at the end. That's what I'm saying now. Fury and AJ are going to do everything they can humanly possible to get back together, to give the British public, AJ Fury. It's gonna happen. They're gonna, but what we're seeing now is them in the midst of some shit that's preventing, that's preventing it from happening.
And that's the beauty. That's what I like. I'd like at one point. It's like, let me just test the waters and see, hey, what's gonna happen? Can the world be shocked on the pretty much the plan that even the media has at the heavyweights, right? And to be honest, for me, I'm gonna see it a lot closer than what I saw this time. 100%. I predicted, I'm not mistaken, 8-round knockout by Usyk. I wasn't being too aggressive. I just felt that the speed and the mentality and how Joshua will come into this fight might take effect, maybe underestimated, whatever the case was. But is Joshua going to become stronger? Absolutely. Going to have that's why it's going to be a great fight. I don't think that if Joshua loses, that'll be the end, because there was a lot of interesting fights, and you just mentioned one. That could happen even if there's no titles on the line, because we don't even know if Usyk's going to take care of Wilder. We don't know what kind of Wilder's going to show up either and give us, some kind of shit show over there, some kind of circus. And hey, 2-second punch. That's what they call it, the Bronx Bomber. But if you ask me right now, the heavyweights are getting interesting. I like it because it's like that soap opera or that show that ends and you want to see second season. If you look at the tendency of when Sean mentioned the fight going to happen in March, is exactly 6 months the same time frame that Anthony Joshua and Andy Ruiz had to go to the second fight. So it's a pattern here. I think Josh is going to get back to that rhythm. He's going to learn a lot from this. A lot of changes he's going to do, whether he's going to move up and weight, get more speed. I don't know. But I think that right now, Usyk's got to be careful not to lose too much weight, not to gain too much strength, continue to have his speed power, but work on that power because you're going to really need it to really knock this guy out. There's no security blanket on number 2, and Anthony Joshua is going to leave everything on the ring that night. And that's what's going to make it interesting because there's just I got nothing else to do. I got to go for it. And depending on the outcome of this one, people are even starting to hear, there might be a number 3. Joshua's going to win. It depends. If Joshua beats Usyk convincingly, there's no reason for 3. If in fact people think that Usyk won and now the judges go favor, but it was a very, very close fight in which I expect, and they give it to Joshua, and obviously people think it's not, let's do a third one. That will completely shift things over, and we don't want to overcomplicate ourselves going to a rabbit hole. But the reality is nothing's set in stone, and look how all of a sudden the whole path of the heavyweight has changed in just one weekend.
Hey, this could be Holyfield Bowe.
Who knows? There
this
you
could
go.
be Holyfield Bowe.
Yes, like that one. Yep.
It could be, but the practical thinker in me believes that if AJ gets if he gets his get back in the rematch, he ain't giving Usyk another shot, bro.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. I mean, I know, we can say what we want about, AJ, but it is a business. So like to Courtney's point, if he has a stoppage, I think like a dramatic, like a definitive win in the second one, there won't be a third. I think there would only be a third if it would be something where it's close or it's questionable or there was no knockdowns or something. That was another thing that I'll go ahead and say for myself. Not only did I think that Usyk wasn't going to win, I thought there was no way he could win without getting a knockdown or a knockout. So that shows like just, how vastly superior he was as far as his boxing. To Courtney's point, yeah, he did get banged up, but it just goes to show as far as like you never know. I mean, I made assumptions and, I'm glad I was wrong. Also, another assumption, I was also thinking too, boxing fans were never happy that more people would be, maybe British fans, they're different. But I thought more people would be disappointed that fight was, kiboshed or it was monkey wrenched by the win by Usyk, but no one seems to care.
No one seems to care,
no one seems to care at all.
Because it was a good fight. I mean, it was a good fight, man, and like it was done in a way where it's like, okay, I could you know what I'm saying, I could go for a second fight. I could watch. You know what I'm saying, like I think most people are like, yo, I could watch these two do it again.
Hey guys,
I mean, that's what you want. I mean, that's
to a point.
And the thing is, boxing fans were never happy, but we have incredibly short fucking, you know what I'm saying? We're all over the place too in what we want.
But that's where I am excited that all the heavyweight belts are outside the United States. They're in Europe. That's why I'm excited because other countries are having excitement. No, listen to me. Listen to me. There's excitement in other countries and hype building up. And when we finally meet with the right American that will take over, then that's going to make it exciting. We can't own everything, rule everything. There's a lot of countries that are building up themselves to be like top contenders and champions in each division. But right now, you got to give it up for them. They're ruling it, and it sucks. It really sucks. But I'm seeing stuff like yesterday happen. And if they don't rule right now and take advantage of it, which Eddie Hearn, he's the mastermind into doing this, taking the best what we got. And it's like that. Other promoters, they can't take their own pools and build up hype in fights like we did this weekend, and we're lacking that. We do. So we can't rely on our American promoters that besides Top Rank, no one else is making shit over there. At least we get these fights and then we get excited here. By the way, noon, a different perspective. I'm early up, I'm tailgating. I'm enjoying myself. I'm at 7:00. I'm like, there's UFC, I'm gonna go to bed. When on a fight night you're gonna go to bed on a Saturday early. So it's great to bring this kind of entertainment throughout the day on a Saturday, combined with some NCAA football. This is good. It hurts. I get your point, Courtney. Don't get me wrong. It hurts. But hey, let's enjoy what we have.
Hey, I can agree with you on the fact that, and I've said this continually, boxing is a global sport. You know what I'm saying? I think boxing might be one of the most global sports there is, aside from, soccer or football. But this is my question for our in vivo brethren. Since we still got two of y'all on the show, what I'm saying, because you talked about, I'm saying, an American, this is right for an American champion to emerge and to get people excited, retake the belts or whatnot. But this is my question to y'all: is we had an American champion, whether we loved him or not. His name was Deontay Wilder, the Bronze Bomber. In y'all's opinion, why was it so hard for American fans to accept Wilder as the champion? That's a perspective I want to get from y'all.
Sure.
Why was it so? Why was it? We had I feel like we had Wilder. We had an American champ, and then we fucking cheered and fucking shouted from the rooftops when this dude lost. Like, why is that?
Well, I'll speak for myself. That actually I'll consider myself a PBC apologist, and if there is such a thing, that's me.
Thank you, Al Hammond.
Yeah. So yeah, thank you, Al Hammond. His picture's hanging in my room right now. Shout out to you, sir. And yeah, I do consider myself that I was a fan of Deontay Wilder, the Bronze Bomber, and I couldn't figure it out myself either. But like anything else, he can be abrasive at times, and sometimes cocky can be taken the wrong way. As far as this guy has a big head, and he's arrogant, and that can turn people off. So when you're let's be honest, not everybody who wanted to see, there's a lot of fighters that throughout their career they've been cocky, and it becomes a thing where they almost become villainized, right? Where people want to see them fail. So when they do, irregardless of where that force comes from, that people embrace that, and that's how I took it. Similar to, and maybe it's a reach, is Mayweather said that people that pay to watch him, not everybody wants to watch him win; they want to watch him lose. Where it looked like Deontay Wilder took a page out of that book, but he was, got the page where it had more about being villainized and saying, catching a body in the ring, and to this day, and this crazy shit, man.
To this day.
So, like, even if you are a supporter, it does make you kind of say, like, come on, man, kind of tap the brakes on that. And then, let's be honest, his resume is not pound for pound on any. I don't care how much of a fan you are. So he did a lot of things, said a lot of things, and then let's just go ahead and go there, but quickly get out of there, because it's a dark, scary place.
Is it heavy?
No. Yeah. Well,
excuses.
Level of, for me, I was with him, and I really wanted him to win the third fight. When the third fight, we're up on the third fight. But the level of excuses, I'm like embarrassed now. Like, literally, like you said his name, Courtney. I can't even really say. I mean, I said his name, but I stuttered. It's really, I threw up my mouth a little bit. It's hard for me to really talk about this man seriously, not just as an American, just as a human being. Like, as a man, I don't like excuses. So the level of excuses that he had, and the level of detail, and then what I personally don't like, that has created narratives that people follow. And I know that there's a lot of, clickbait channels that like to use that, and it, funnels their, revenue stream, and that's on them. But, he's championed that, like, this excuse culture, if you will. Like, so I'm American, yeah, absolutely, and I always go for American, and I always definitely go for people that are from Texas. Got much love, especially when I go from somebody that's from out of the United States. But man, this brother knows how to turn people off the wrong way. So he made himself so disliked and so unlikable that I don't care who beats him really at this point. If there's a video game, I'm not going to buy it if he's in it. It's that serious. Like, I can't stand that guy. It makes me sick. Like, just not to go on a tangent, and I'll let my brother Manny talk, but we actually made a talk amongst ourselves in Vivo that we didn't even have any shows about Glovegate or, all the Power Rangers suit gate or none of that crap, man. It's just, it's not boxing, man. It's sad is what it is.
Yeah.
So that's what it is. To me, it has nothing to do about, where he is from, geography. It all has to do about, being a man and integrity. And, he's an embarrassment straight up.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you're absolutely right. You're right, Sean. He could either hate him or love him. There's not an in between. And as a fan, you can like him for a couple of reasons. Number one, knockout artist. This is a guy that when he was 32-2, people were like starting to know about him. On his 33rd fight against Bermane Sivert, that's when he won the WC championship. I was in Las Vegas that weekend. I didn't go to the fight. It wasn't my intention to go to the fight. I had the plans already, and then the fight got scheduled. Well, guess what? He won. From that point on, I was like, wow, I got to see what this guy's doing. But when I started learning a little bit more about him, he's not a guy that I can see him as a leader, as someone that would empower me, like, for instance, an Anthony Joshua. His humbleness, the way he carries himself, the way he talks to people, right? For me, it was just only about him. So he started creating this whole negative impression to some people that they were like starting to hate him and love him. And then you got the media people, the people that might know a little bit more about boxing. They're asking and saying, listen, he's just a 2-second punch. Where's his boxing IQ? Where's his boxing skills? He has nothing. He's just tall, big, strong, amazing jab that can just throw the right hand and knock you out. That's about it. And then Luis Ortiz came up, and Luis was just giving him a beating for his life. And to be honest, it's 2-second punch. And then they just keep hyping him up. And of course, his promotion company, which I'm just, not happy and suffering as a fan because I'm not getting the fights that I really want to see. And then there's just a whole monopoly in that side of it and the nuances of the business, which as a casual, they might not understand it, but as a part of the medium, as a fan, it's frustrating. But I got to hold my thoughts up because I'm not seeing the fights that we need to see. And everything that we've seen after Luis Ortiz has just been exactly the same thing. I don't know what kind of Wilder we're going to see today. And the next fight, I really don't. I don't even know what Fury we're going to see. I don't think we break it down yet or gave our predictions. And it's going to be very difficult because it's all about what we've seen in the trajectory. And I don't think that Wilder mentally he's all there. I think he's got a lot of anger. He's got a lot of stuff that he doesn't know how to canalize it and just throw it in different ways, which it doesn't work for him. And then you got the show and an entertainer in Tyson Fury, in where it's going to give us excitement. He's going to sing afterward, whether he wins or loses. He's going to sing. There's no excuses. I'm the badass. And let me fucking sing because this is my microphone and I won and this is my fight. These are some of the things that people want. So that's why you see more in Tyson Fury than Wilder. To your point, Courtney, I was rooting for the American sensation, but I was disappointed because it wasn't what I really wanted that represents the heavyweights, those guys like Ali, like all these guys that really represented. And trust me, I've only had, as a Puerto Rican fan, the Mecca boxing, we've only had one heavyweight, and that is John Ruiz, unexpected. So we're dying as well to have a big, true heavyweight. It's coming along still in the prospect kind of thing, still building up, but the reality is we got to rely on the local thing, and we just don't have it right now.
Real quick, I want to say real quick, this is where my brother and I differ. I don't like Tyson Fury either. Fuck that.
Exactly. I was gonna say.
Yeah, I don't.
Well, I'm okay with it. I like it. I like the entertainment.
So his singing.
He's not a big boxer. He's not a.
But it's hypocritical. Yeah, because if you look at Fury as a personality and you look at Wilder as a personality, you just ticked off all these reasons why, Deontay Wilder didn't do it for you. And I respect those, so that is your opinion. But the disconnect for me is just like, okay, you said Wilder was this person who couldn't empower you. What the hell is it about Tyson? What the hell is it about Tyson Fury? It's not Wilder. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, come on now. If we look at Wilder's antics, like the dude is just as he's just as much off the chain as the Bronze Bomber was.
Yeah, he's not an ogre. He doesn't enter himself. This guy's an entertainer. He's a fuck up. Great. He's done some crazy stuff and don't give shit at times, but he's entertainer. And as a fan that's paying something for it, and I'm comparing who do I want to root, I don't think I'm going to take my roots, which is an American root, if I'm thinking I'm looking more at the boxing thing, not at the whole country thing who I'm rooting for. And I want my entertainment because I'm the fan and I'm paying for it. And I want to root for Tyson Fury.
But Fury only really offers you entertainment outside the ring, though.
Well,
I
outside
mean,
the ring doesn't count.
if
I
we're
never
really
said that
looking at
Tyson
it, he's
Fury-
only really entertaining outside the ring. You know what I'm saying?
I never
He's
said that
vastly
Tyson Fury
skilled.
in
He's
power.
vastly skilled, and
I
that
never said
fucking
that.
ass whooping he put on Wilder, that shit was, you know what I'm saying? That shit was aesthetically pleasing. You know what I'm saying? But it's just like, okay, this dude is an oaf. He's singing. He's always fucking boozed and drugged and fucking fucked up and shit. But Wilder is that dude who talks all this brass shit and then goes and knocks motherfuckers out. Like, you know what I'm saying? The entertainment factor, like, I'm not seeing how it weighs out, man. It's like, okay,
Wilder never made it to Unify.
you're
so
riding
he
with
never
Fury,
made it.
who is
It's just
entertaining because of his antics outside the ring over somebody who was given value for money inside the ring.
At least Fury doesn't have excuses.
Just real quick, I'm not being an apologist.
He's never had to make excuses though.
Well, he doesn't have.
And the thing is, him being hooked on coke and fucking dealing with mental illness and shit like that. That was, you know what I'm saying? Like, I mean,
he didn't respect his corner either. That's why he's got a new corner.
Coke.
I mean,
hey, what he did to Mark Breland was dirty. I'll acknowledge that.
Yeah, that Mark Breland thing. That's real low life. So
now those are the small little things that kept on going. To your point,
but what I find funny about the Mark Breland thing is Mark Breland has never really clapped back. You know what I'm saying? Like, for me, Mark Breland's response to that shit was really not as fucking vocal and forceful as I would like. So it's like, do I think Mark Breland really drugged him or not? Hell no. But like, my thing is, it kind of makes me like, I don't know, man. It's like, that really, I think to me, that really speaks to Mark Breland's character, that fucking, he didn't at least fucking go out there and vocally defend himself from that shit.
Well, I mean, he's gone on shows. I've seen on shows where he's gone and commented. I mean, you know, people verbalize differently. I mean, there was a relationship there. So, you know, there may be some boundaries. I know for myself where people may do me wrong, but if you have a relationship, you don't automatically want to clap back and forth. I mean, people are different. So I can't really wrong that man for that. I mean, we know on the outside looking in, it was fucked up, right? So we don't need him to tell us that. You know what I'm saying? That's like saying we need the weatherman to tell us that rain's going to get us wet. I know that shit. So I don't need Mark Breland to tell me he got fucked over. He got fucked over. So I don't need that. And as far as the lesser two evils, fuck Tyson Fury, fuck Deontay Wilder. They both ain't shit. You know, as far as like who I want to win, whoever's the better man that night. I mean, honestly, because you know, when in doubt, I want chaos. So it wouldn't bother me at all if Deontay Wilder knocks out the, you know, Tyson Fury and keeps him from singing. That would make my day, and keeps him from doing coke or keep him from talking about mental illness. I invoke chaos, you know, so at all times it doesn't matter to me. I just want, you know, an entertaining fight. But to your point, Courtney, I mean, if you're asking why fans, and that was your thing, not just us, but collectively, whether we like it or not, for whatever reason, the things that we stated, people are biased, and they're gonna say, "Hey, you know, this guy rubs me the wrong way, and I don't like this guy. This guy's full of shit, but I can tolerate his shit a little bit more." You know, for whatever reason, it's just some people are just have the gift of gab, and it's also how it's presented as well. Where keep in mind that, you know, Tyson Fury has the engine behind him of ESPN. And so when they do shows and events, they can put spin on it that maybe can fool the masses. Where the PBC, you know, with all their, you know, opportunities, they don't always have the ability to.
I think PBC markets their fighters as being ghetto. You know what I'm saying? Like that, you know what I'm saying? I think it's a demographic thing too. Is ESPN is going for mainstream appeal as far as where I think PBC sometimes is like they're trying to market to the hood.
Right. So when you do that, what do you get? You get the hood, right? So when you market to mainstream, you get mainstream. And I think that's also part of it. So the machines that are behind them are also a part of their likability or dislikability, you know, in comparison. So, but yeah, I mean, being a PBC apologist, and I've written about, you know, Deontay Wilder before, you know, talking about his power and all that. But, you know, I'm not a fan by any means at all. So I wish him well, nothing, you know, ill against him. And I'm hoping it is an entertaining fight. I mean, I hope we get something that we can all talk about and be like, damn, you know, that was something, you know, and we're not talking about the Power Ranger suit either, like something within the ring, something that we know was memorable.
It was a Black Panther suit, bro.
Yeah. You know, well, this time he said, which I thought was funny, just real quick, that he was one of the first questions he was asked in a conference, the press conference that they had with the PBC, Deontay Wilder was asked about, is he going to wear a suit again? And they said, yeah, an even heavier suit. So there's some issues there with his camp. They're not pushing back. He's got too many yes men around him, which we can't help with.
Great stuff, guys. Well, we're well beyond the 1 hour mark. Very lively chaos.
Oh, sorry, man. My bad.
I love it, man. We brought the chaos.
Hey, he said, my man said he rooting for chaos. I fuck with I fuck with you, bro. I fuck with you behind that, dog.
I just want to watch the world burn.
That's the theme of this.
Yeah, I fuck with that heavy, bro.
I fuck with it too. That's the theme of this episode, chaos. And we all brought it tonight.
This is brought to you by chaos.
That's what makes it special. Not agreeing to everything. But Gringo, you're gonna pay for that too, though. So you're gonna watch it. You're a victim.
There you go. That changed my perspective. Yeah, right.
So before we end it, let me go one by one, roundabout. Tommy Rush Jr., any closing thoughts, closing statements for tonight? Go ahead, Tommy.
Hey man, this was a phenomenal episode. Like on fucking fire.
The best ever.
Hey, TBE, not the defensive TBE, Julio, but hey, this was a phenomenal episode, man. Absolute pleasure. Love the collaboration with Long Live Boxing and Vivo. Appreciate you guys like every day, all day. We rock with y'all. This was I thoroughly enjoyed this shit, and we need to do this shit more often, man. So wonderful discussions, wonderful debates, the energy fucking flawless. Love it. So man, like this is I'm happy with this, man. This is good shit. And when we can all get together and do what we just did right here. So yeah, man, I'm glad that we got a really good fight to end this month, because this about month and a half was kind of boring for boxing a little bit,
That fucking COVID, man.
Like we didn't
that motherfucking COVID.
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
like
but look at October. October is going to be one of the best months,
and that's
post-COVID.
Exactly.
Fights.
Hey, backs that thing up so y'all can get to these motherfucking fights, y'all.
hey, and that's where I was going with it. Is like we finished this month with a great, phenomenal fight, and we're about to be blazed with a lot of heat. So I'm excited by it, and yeah, man, like wonderful episode, and appreciate you guys for joining us, and appreciate my fellow peers as always.
Great stuff, Tommy. And Manny, Marrero, and Vivo.
What? Amigo? Like I say in Spanish, a fuego y sin extinguidor, on fire without an extinguisher. So that's what we were, episode 72. Thank you, Stand A Podcast, for Aaron. The pleasure always. Tommy, we rock it when we're in those events, right? Courtney, I hope to see you live sometime soon. In the
Hey, I'll be in Atlanta October 23rd for the Shakur Stevenson Jamal Herring fight. If anybody wants to hit me up, I'm sick. I got floor seats. I got floor seats. Come find me. Let's talk some shit.
Woo, man, that's what's up, man. So that's good, man. We're
will
excited.
You be at that fight, the Shakur Stevenson fight in Vivo, guys? Will you be there?
Would I be there? We're still thinking about it. I don't think so right now. I think we got a lot of stuff planned up. We're about to reach 100 episode milestone. We're gonna have a lot of stuff. We're gonna participate a lot in the Big Belt Championship locally, going to Houston, and so we got a kind of an agenda. With that, thank you guys for the support that you guys do to us and accepting us and embracing them in your family. Definitely, you guys have some amazing experience. And with the passion of what we love to do, and is talk about boxing, the audience wants something new, something fresh. And I think that we're in the great times to do that. We did all get affected by COVID. A lot of people did different things. It didn't work out. Some I haven't seen them, so I've not. But I think we've stayed strong. It stopped us from getting to what we want to accomplish, delaying that purpose. But I think it's for a reason, and we learn as we go through these collaborations. And to be honest, we thank you. We're extremely excited about the future, what's going to hold. I love, seeing, and you guys have known, I follow a lot of Puerto Rican boxing. It's been my passion since I was a kid. And we'll continue to deliver that. I think the diversification that we bring into our show, which I appreciate you guys supporting, but it does a lot of things and a lot of beats and pieces. So we're glad that we, that you guys are always, giving that support, and for the fans to continue to not only show their support, making us, your home and the Standing A podcast. This episode, a fuego.
The feeling's mutual, Manny. Honored to have you on. Sean Gringo Hicks, closing thoughts, statements. Go ahead, man.
Yeah, I just want to say real quick because Tommy and Manny so eloquently put it, as far as how things were, and we really appreciate you guys and respect you guys greatly. We had Tommy on for episode 75, and it was one of my favorite episodes. I mean, his knowledge and passion. You guys are all very knowledgeable, and you present yourselves that way, and you do a great job as far as your branding, and just we have a high respect for you guys. So the fact that you guys reached out really means a lot, and we. Yes. Ultimately want your success. I mean, I know that Courtney was talking about being hypocritical. I guess I'm about to do it right now. Yeah, I do want chaos, but I do want success for others at the same time. That makes me a weirdo, right? So
fuck that chaos.
Yeah. Fuck
half
chaos.
man, half disappointment.
Yeah. Half man, half disappointment. So I'm disappointed in how I was on the show, but I loved how you guys were. And but seriously, keep doing what you're doing. And the reason why we do it, it sounds corny or cliche. It's not for the views. It's not for the clicks. I do it for my brothers. I do it for boxing. And I believe that you guys are doing the same thing. You're putting good conversation out there, thought-provoking ideas of why people need to be engaged and excited for these fights. I mean, when fights like the ones we had this past Saturday afternoon happen, how could you not want to talk about it, right? So this is a great format. And, I encourage you guys to keep doing what you're doing. And we got much respect. Thank you.
Sean Gringo Hicks with the chaos. Thank you, sir. And honor to have you on, as well as Manny Marrero. And also shout out to Hopper, who was here with us earlier today. Hope all is well with you. And last but definitely not least, Courtney Tanner, aka the Brown Birch Sugar, lace us with the Oscar speech. Go ahead.
You knew what's coming, man. Hey, I want to give a shout out to Anthony Saldana. Everybody at Just Boxing. I want to give a shout out to Marcus Nall and the First Lady of Boxing, Tiffany Daniels at Ohio Runs Boxing, Gary Kilson. Let me see, shit. Hector Correa and Joseph Correa and Hector Franco at Front Proof. Basically, say, hey, in Vivo, hey, thank you so much for blessing us. And basically everybody from Pound for Pound, man, everybody from Chris Ramos, my arch nemesis, Antoine Wilkes, hey, everybody, man, Julio Z, hey, let's get it, Daniel Pena, hey, alumnus, hey, Roy Bennett, Scott Graves, hey, everybody out there, everybody helping us advance this movement. Hey, we appreciate y'all. Hey, we're going to continue to be here for you, support this movement. Bring a friend, tell them to bring one. Bring your mama, your wife, your girlfriend, your side piece, your auntie, your cousin, your brother, your sister. Bring everybody. Let's do this.
Great stuff, everybody. Again, I'm Aaron Soria from Los Angeles. This is episode 72 of the Standing 8 podcast. Tommy Rush Jr., Courtney Tanner, Manny Marrero, Sean Hicks, and earlier, Hopper, Manuel Dominguez, all from the En Vivo podcast. From all of us, thank you for joining us on this live stream of episode 72. Stay safe, guys. Have a great week upcoming. Be safe, guys. Peace.
Vivo!